What's up, everybody? We are going to do something that we used to do quite some time ago. We used to call it PSA Monday. I don't know what we're going to call this, to be honest with you, but we're just going to have a conversation. It is Monday. Will I release this on a Monday? I don't know. But we're going to have a conversation, and we're just going to document it, and we want y'all to be a part of this conversation. I wanted to share this with y'all and just see what the thoughts are. So the way that this goes is Megan doesn't know what we're going to talk about.
Nope. No clue.
So it makes sure that the answers and everything are authentic. If y'all couldn't tell, we are currently on a trampoline. Yeah, it's looking crazy with our pajama pants on.
No.
All right. So I wrote a thought today that I want to get your thoughts on. The thought was, I feel like I'm trying to squeeze myself into a box that my soul was not created for. So the reason why I want to talk about this is because we have, on several occasions, been in situations where both of us have felt like our souls are being squeezed into something, whether it be a job, some type of relationship, some type of family situation. There's a lot of areas, and we'll get into that we just kind of felt like, we're being squeezed and this doesn't feel comfortable and doesn't feel like the place we should actually be in. So I just wanted to talk a brief bit about that, because I do think that a lot of people probably feel that way. A lot of people, I'm sure, feel like the life is being squeezed out of them. So I wanted to ask you real quick if you currently feel like you're in a situation where your soul is trying to be placed into a box that you shouldn't be in.
Not as extreme as I've had in the past. Now, I don't know if that is because circumstances have changed or because I feel like there's purpose behind it. I don't think that in all cases there's, you have to be put through the soul squeezing, so to say. But I do think that God uses it intentionally for us, for our growth. I think that we don't grow without being challenged, and so sometimes it takes very uncomfortable circumstances to grow.
Yeah. So
I don't currently find myself in there. I could tomorrow, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily currently.
So I asked the question. And just to give y'all a little bit of history, I have felt like this before on jobs where I just feel like, I'm literally dying here. And I know that many people, even people who might watch this later, just feel like that right now. Like, I'm dying at this job. It's killing me. Again, I felt like that in relationships with friends and family members. The relationship felt restricting. It just felt like it was squeezing me. We have felt like that with each other, where it's felt like we are collectively trying to squeeze the life out of each other, which I think happens in a relationship where you depend on each other a lot. And so right now, I feel like my soul is trying to be squeezed into a box, but I feel like it's happening internally. And what I mean is, oftentimes when you are exposed to other people's ideals over and over and over again, they end up becoming your ideals, even though it's not your ideal. So at jobs, there were quite a few things that were said to me that made me feel like I didn't fit, the status quo or what everybody else was doing. Jay, you're too aggressive. You're too assertive. You rock the boat. How come you just can't go with the flow like everybody else? Why can't you just
abide by the hierarchy?
Yeah, like you don't respect people's titles, which I don't care about people's titles. But at work, that was a thing. But also in relationships, it was a thing where people, just would make comments about how I interact and things like that. What I'm not saying is that there hasn't been room for growth, because there has been. There were a lot of people that I was a jerk to, that I had to say I'm sorry to. Some I still need to say I'm sorry to. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is because just because a trait that you have may be offensive doesn't necessarily mean the trait has to go away completely. It may just mean that there needs to be some growth in how you use what it is that you have. I think that my assertiveness, my aggressiveness in life and in relationship is actually a gift from God. It has served me well. It has actually served other people well. But sometimes the narratives that other people plant in our minds can squeeze us and grab a hold of us and make us feel like what we have learned and know to be true ain't true no more, and what they said was true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess the question that I have now is, how do you think, how do you get out of a soul squeezing box? How do you get out? How do you know it's time? I want to talk to the time portion because I feel like we have already had this situation. So,
Yeah.
Megan knows back in 2016, 16 or 17. I can't remember. All right, one of them years. It was 16.
I think it was 16.
Back in 2016, I was working at a job. I was working as a collector, which I thoroughly enjoy, by the way. The position itself, though, got old to me very fast. And I began to say on a daily, weekly, sometimes minute-by-minute basis, I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to be here no more. I actually think I don't want to be here no more is one of the first great indicators that your soul is being squeezed. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to leave. It may just mean there's a change that needs to happen. But I don't want to be here. I think it's communicating something. It's your soul communicating something to you. So I started to feel like I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. But one Monday morning, I was supposed to get to work at 8 o'clock. Got there at 8 o'clock. Was there until 9:30. 9:30 came. I walked outside. I called Megan. And I said to her, I don't feel like I'm supposed to be here anymore. And I want you to listen to that word, supposed to be here. Because there is a difference between I don't want to be here and I'm not supposed to be here. Because I don't want to be here is about my feelings. I'm not supposed to be here carries somewhat of an objective nature to it. I'm not going to say it's completely objective, but it carries somewhat of an objective nature to it. I am not supposed to be here. I am in the wrong place. What I would say is look for the change. So look for the change in I don't want to be here, and in this like awareness of I'm not supposed to be here, because I'm not supposed to be here, I think comes with an answer. I'm not supposed to be here, but I am supposed to be there, if that makes sense. If y'all can hear the background, people playing basketball. You know what I'm saying?
Let me jump in real fast, because I think what's important about this is it didn't just go from you internally thinking, I don't want to be here, to internally thinking, I'm not supposed to be here, and that's it. I think there was a lot of conversations that happened. There was a lot of definition around what made you feel like that, what I don't want even means, what I want means for you. And so I think, it's not just going to be an automatic jump, because I think that there has to be definition around it. Why is it that you feel this way?
That's good.
Is it circumstantial, or is there something more happening? And what we found out was there's definitely something more here, but the timing isn't yet.
Yeah.
So we were really talking through all of that so that when the timing did change and it was, I'm not supposed to be here anymore, I was able to jump fully on board because I was with you through the entire process.
So I think that's good because I do think another question that comes when I'm not supposed to is, what am I supposed to?
Yes.
Right? So what am I supposed to be doing? What am I supposed to be being? How am I supposed to be living? How am I supposed to be reacting? How am I supposed to be loving? How am I supposed to be caring? Again, I don't want to just restrict this to work. I do get that a lot of people are in a situation where they feel like their jobs are squeezing them, but I also think that if we zoom out, you probably will find this is like a recurring theme in a number of areas in life. Again, in relationships, maybe even with parenting and with your kids, like is parenting squeezing your soul? Man, look, financially, with bills, your living situation, the city that you live in, the neighborhood that you live in, the school that your kids go to. Like, I feel like this can reach very, very, very far, but I do think the question needs to be answered. What am I supposed to be doing? And I do think that like you should lean on the people that surround you to help answer that question. People that you trust, people that's going to be honest with you, people who aren't jealous and envious and can kind of look at you critically without it being about them.
They have their best at heart.
You have your best interests at heart. The Lord is gracious to us that we actually had those people, so thank God for that. But I think that, trying to answer that question, okay, if I'm not supposed to be here, if I don't want to be here, and now I realize I'm not supposed to be here,
right,
and I'm now realizing where I'm supposed to be, then it's the time for the plan. Then it's the time for, like, all right, let's set a plan in motion, then let's execute the plan, because a dream remains a dream if it doesn't have a plan, but a plan is still just a plan if you never execute it. And I think that, like, that's a thing that most people don't spend a lot of time doing. They don't spend a lot of time executing the plan. People dream and dream a lot of dreams, and people plan, but execution is really, really, really what it takes to get you to the place that you want to be in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think one of the things that we've consistently said over our almost 12 years of marriage is that we leave almost all of our conversations open-ended.
Yes.
Meaning that it's very rare that something comes to us, okay, this is our final decision and it's not going to change.
Yeah.
Most situations, all of the things that you just named, some relationships, work, where you live, family dynamics, all of that will change at some point. And so, we live in a world that has seasons, and I think that applies to life.
It does.
Beyond just the weather outside.
Yeah, I think being aware of your season, vital, right? Because, and we don't necessarily live in an agricultural society anymore, so I do think, I actually think that there is a way the seasons are actually kind of missed on us. If we're not aware of what they all mean. Yeah. There's a purpose for winter. Winter cleanses and it does something. Man, look, if you got allergies, winter cleanses. You hear me?
Unless you have winter allergies.
That's that. But springtime is typically a time to sow. Time to put some seeds, seeds in the ground. Things start blooming. Summertime is where a lot of things typically take full bloom, and and then of course after summertime, harvest. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so I wonder if I'll just say it this way: if you could recognize the season that you're in, I think it helps you create a plan, because sometimes just because you have a dream or you have a vision of what your life should be, it doesn't, to your point, and you just said this, it doesn't necessarily mean it's right now is the time. You might be in a sowing season of your life where you are just simply putting seeds in the ground. You are commenting on somebody else's social media. You are making phone calls to that other company. You are trying to find that new friend or that new boyfriend or that new girlfriend. You are, trying to have the child. You are trying to raise the child the best that you can. You are trying to do for your parents. You are trying to get out of debt. You're trying to save money. Those are sowing seasons. Yeah. Those are seasons where, I'm putting this seed in the ground and it's essentially investing. I don't know what's going to happen on the other end of this, but nothing can't happen. Like that's just how you sow enough, something's going to happen. And so I do think that, like, making sure that you're aware of the season, and then when it's time to reap, go for it. Because I think a lot of people end up in a reaping season, but because they didn't plan, they can't go get it. They don't have the proper tools, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the time, they don't have the bandwidth, they don't have the capacity, they don't have the right relationships to go do it. So being aware of your season, she said that right, like, being aware of your season is imperative to be able to get out of a situation where your soul is being squeezed. Here's my last thing: have people with you that don't squeeze your soul. When I say that, I mean all of the above. I mean people who won't crush your dreams just because they don't necessarily make sense to them. People who won't misunderstand your character because your personality isn't always what they would think is ideal. You need people who, if they can't buy into the vision, they can buy into you. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. I feel like I need an audience here to talk to, but you want people who can buy into you, because then what can happen is they'll just be with you on the journey,
Yeah, and I think honestly the communication is so important, because because you always need somebody who you can bounce things off of to make sure that you're continuing processing, because like you said, without the plan, it doesn't ever come to fruition. And I think for the person who doesn't have anyone right now, start with the mirror.
Yeah.
Talk to yourself.
Yeah.
I think just verbalizing some of those things, talking out, planning, all of that. If it has to be in a mirror, let it be in a mirror until the person comes.
Yeah, and listen, and you got us.
Yeah.
Period. Like, we here. We might be seeing you through a screen some way, somehow, but we are here. Anybody that knows us in our lives know that we love walking alongside of people. We want to be available and help, and to, if nothing else, be a listening ear.
Yeah.
So we're here for you, but I wanted to take a moment to thank you. In all seriousness, in front of the camera, because I don't be doing that, you know what I'm saying, all the time, publicly. But I want to thank you for never being a person who squeezes my soul. You have always and only for almost 13 years tried to find a way to make sure my soul gets set free from whatever the boundaries and limitations that other people and myself have placed on me. That's another thing. Sometimes it's you.
That's a whole other conversation.
Sometimes it's you.
Around the definition of who is actually squeezing your soul.
Yeah, so we will get back to that, because y'all ain't ready for that one yet. But no, but in all seriousness, thank you. I love you for that. I appreciate you for that. And just know, listen, make this a collective thing. We are trying to support each other and making sure that our souls aren't being squeezed. She has dreams, I have dreams, we got kids. Nevertheless, it is our agenda, it's our plan to make sure that we live to the truest definition of what God created us to be in this world. And so we want to encourage you to do the same thing. I hope that this was helpful in some way, form, or fashion. But listen, pay attention to what you want. Pay attention to where you feel like you should be and shouldn't be. Make a plan, execute the plan, and I promise you, your soul can actually be set free. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Thank y'all for joining us.
Bye.
We'll talk to you soon.